Hey guys, Zero here, with another vlog review. This one's probably one of the toughest ones I've ever had to do. I debated on not doing it for a while, but I wanted to get the word out there for people to see this movie, because it's kind of important. If you read the title of this video, you know that this review today is on Farewell, FamiKamen Rider, which is the movie that Mars Girl made using what little she could that was left of the filming from Jiworio's FamiKamen Rider series that he was working on, as well as making an original story about the character, just kind of as a send-off to Jiworio Justin Carmichael's series, and as a tribute to finish it off for him and basically finish his work in a new way. For those of you who saw my other video, Jiworio, I'll just briefly go over. Jiworio was a guy who made an import game series called You Can Play This. Explained how much it was more than just a regular import show. It explained how much Japanese you would need to get full enjoyment out of a game and certain things like that. And it wasn't just his show. He was a really, really nice guy. One of the nicest people you'd ever meet. I only ever met him in person once. It was very briefly, but people would say, and this is true, if you meet him once, it's like he's known you for 20 years. He was that kind of guy. He was really open and whatnot, and he did really respective work. And my involvement with him is, for a while when I wasn't working, I would become a regular of his streams. This for a little while, not the entire time, just because I eventually did get a job and I didn't have time to go to his streams all the time. But he used to do a lot of streams. He had a series on, he had different series. He had I Want Candy, where he tried different candy from Japanese and regular or other cultures or whatnot. His main series was the You Can Play This, and FamiKamen Rider kind of became a character he made, just based on the Kamen Rider franchise, and because he wanted to make a original storyline. And I always thought that was really neat, because I have a similar idea. For those of you who watch my game reviews, you probably see I have a Kamen Rider storyline going on. I always had a similar idea, and I wasn't sure if it was going to work. And then when I saw Jiworio do it, I'm like, yeah, this will totally work. I can totally pull this off. So he kind of helped kick my keister in gear with his own thing to get my own moving on. But anyways, let's get to the before I get to the movie, actually, I should say, yeah, he unfortunately passed away before a lot of his projects could be finished, including the FamiKamen Rider show he was working on. He wanted to make a 12 or 13 or whatever episode series of the character, and it unfortunately didn't pan out the way he thought, and unfortunately he passed away before he could see his work completed. So this is kind of taking what they had and putting it together in a movie. And this is a hard one to review because there are things about it negatives I do want to talk about. But first and foremost, this movie, if you're not a fan of Jiworio or Kamen Rider, it's probably not for you. Because first of all, it's not a very accessible film. You already have to know who the characters are. If you're a fan of that guy with the glasses, you might know who Jiworio is, or Mars Girl, or some of the other people who appear in this movie. And back when that guy with the glasses was kind of in its prime. Now it's kind of really slimmed down and whatnot, and a lot of people have left it who were big names on there. The reason I say fan of Kamen Rider, because that's what the character is based on. But Jiworio really was the one who made the story for the character. So if you haven't seen his FamiKamen Rider his You Can Play This anniversary special or the FamiKamen Rider reviews, it's going to be a lot harder to understand the story of this. Luckily, if you do feel like seeing this, or you watched it and you didn't know who he was, all the stuff's still available on his YouTube channel. And if it ever goes down, I have copies of it, and I plan to re-upload them somewhere. So, in the case that happens, I'll leave a description, or a link in the description down below so you can check them out. But, on to the movie itself. The main problem I have with it is pacing. The first half of the movie is way, way too long. The first few scenes specifically, not so much the aftermath battle scene. That's fine. The big one that I want to talk about is a lot of explaining scenes, and I think that was necessary. But the scene at the yard sale, first of all, it's way too long, and it's the geeky guy they made. Like, really? Like, I know it's like the joke on the stereotypical nerd person, but I was like, it was really, really awkward. I guess that was the intent, though. But it was really hard to sit through. The first half of the movie is really hard to sit through because it's so much of it is just so long and nothing really happens. It isn't until we get to Yankee J that it really starts to get interesting. And I don't want to spoil too much of it because I want people to watch it, but that's when the movie first starts getting interesting and the point of it comes into fruition. Another thing that's really long in the first half, the scene with Miyamoto. Oh my god, like, I know these things have to be set for exposition, but I can't help but nitpick them because a lot of it has felt like I get the point, get on with it, you know what I mean? Like, this movie is 2 hours, let me just say, and it doesn't really pick up until partway through, or most of the way through the first half, and then starting to get into the second half. So, it's kind of a slog to watch. But the second half is really where it picks up. That's where the fight scenes start coming in. If you're a fan of Kamen Rider, the fight scenes are very natural. They're not like super like wire work or anything, or special effects, crazy special effects like you'd see in the Kamen Rider franchise. But for a fan film or whatever, it's kind of neat. And the last fight scene leading into the ending, is really powerful stuff. There's a shot of the FamiKamen Rider unmorphing or dehensioning, and it's just the back of him. I don't know who they got, but they got some guy apparently who is a real Juorio lookalike, and it's surreal. Like, it's quite emotional, even just thinking about it now, because I know, and everybody watching this knows, that he's dead. But for a moment, it felt like he was alive again. Let's talk about the characters. Mars Girl is Mars Girl. She's a bit more... Her character's a bit more battle-hardened because she thought it was her fault that he died. And, she's kind of annoying in the first half because she's... But it makes sense because later on it shows off. The new character, Chris, he's kind of annoying too. And there's not much I can really say on him. I didn't really hate him, but I kind of wish they had, made him a little more serious. It's hard for me to say because this is I'm listening to myself, and because this is a movie that's a tribute to somebody who made a goofy spin-off parody of Kamen Rider, and this is the movie they're making with it. I guess I kind of expected more action because when I think movie and Kamen Rider, I think that, but that's probably just because my expectations have been set too high by the real stuff. So, with all due respect, like, I'm making all these criticisms, but this is a very well done tribute to Giorgio and his work, and they did a fantastic job with it. It's just being a critic, there's certain things I see and I gotta point out, you know what I mean? So, the villain was really interesting. He was also kind of annoying, but he felt more like a Kamen Rider villain. And the whole ages thing, that's hilarious. But yeah, this one's hard to talk about. I think maybe I should just skip to the end and basically say that, like I said before, this movie is for fans of Giorgio and or Kamen Rider, and it pays tribute to what his work was trying to do. And I'm doing this review not to be super critical, but to get the word out there, because I haven't seen any mainstream Japanese or toku sites talk about this, and a couple of them did talk about Giorgio, and I think it's kind of important. I hope they do talk about this, because this movie's kind of important. It's not perfect, but it's for all intents and purposes, it's a very well done tribute, and I think it's worthy of Giorgio's name. Will I watch it again? I may watch it again. I haven't decided yet. Because the first time I watched it, it was kind of I was kind of stopping and going, and I'd like to watch it all in one sitting, so I'll probably do that. But I'm sorry this is a slipshod review. I just wanted to get the word out there. Farewell, FamiKamen Rider gets a recommendation from me with those, of course, with those pretenses. Even if you're not a fan of Kamen Rider or Giorgio, but you are generally curious in his series, you can watch this movie. Hell, go watch some of his episodes maybe if you really want to get the backstory. But yeah, so farewell, FamiKamen Rider. I just want to thank the people who worked on it, Mars Girl, and all the people who worked on the team, because I was really hoping when Mars Girl mentioned that she was going to try and finish Justin's work for him, that I really hope she would. I was actually going to make a video saying, I'd do whatever you need. I'd video edit it. I'd, if there's an Indiegogo, I'd donate to it or whatnot, but a life happens, and I didn't have time to make that video, and I just sort of forgot about it. So this was a nice surprise to come back to. So, anyways, that's my thoughts on Farewell, FamiKamen Rider. Definitely check it out. And again, this is what Giorgio should be remembered for, not how he went. So, thanks for watching, guys. Go check out the movie. Next time I'll be back with a regular vlog review. So, see ya.